Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Marsh Company. We are very happy and excited to have you here with us. In this video, we will be sharing some important info on safety procedure for handling the pipeline, which is safety measure in the transportation of petroleum by pipeline, presented by our safety official team. I am NATASHA binti MUSHAMRIMAN, your safety manager. Without further ado, I will explain about the objective of this topic and covering preliminary part 1 section 2 and part 2 section 3. The main objective of our topic is to explain the legal safety requirement involved in transporting petroleum through pipeline, to highlight the importance of compliance with this regulation to avoid accident and environmental hazard, and to ensure all new officials understand the critical safety rules and they will play in this area. Let's begin with the preliminary part 1, section 2 of the regulation, which is interpretation. This section defines the key terms used throughout the regulation. Understanding this definition is important to ensure clarity when reading and applying the law. Some important terms include approving authority, means the official body with legal authority to approve pipeline installation and operation. Pipeline includes all parts through which petroleum is conveyed, including valve, pumps, and other associated equipment. This foundational section ensures there is no confusion regarding roles, responsibility, and scope in the rest of the regulation. Next, we move to part 2 section 3, which cover the application and non-application of the regulation. This regulation applies to all pipeline transporting petroleum in Malaysia and any party involved in the design, installation, operation and maintenance of such pipeline. However, it does not apply to pipeline used for internal use within a premise and temporary pipeline used in emergency or short-term operation. This section is critical for determining whether a specific pipeline falls under this regulation. Safety official must verify this before proceeding with inspection or approvals. Next, my colleague will proceed the next part.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hi, good morning everyone. I am ADRIANA SAFIAH, Safety Officer 1. So today I'll be explaining to you about section 4 to 7 of Petroleum Safety Measures, Transportation of Petroleum by Pipeline Regulations 185. These sections focus on key safety requirements for the designs, installation, operation and pressure control of petroleum pipelines. So first thing first, as you can see here under section 4, it is mandatory that all aspects of the petroleum or gas pipeline, including the design, fabrication, installation, testing and maintenance, must comply with the international safety standards. Specifically, the requirements are based on the American National Standards Institute ANSI codes. For example, for liquid petroleum, the code is ANSI/ASME B31.4. Meanwhile, for gas transmission, the code is ANSI/ASME B31.8. So, these standards are crucial in ensuring that pipelines are built safely, can handle the transported substances, and minimize the risk of failure or leakage. Okay, now moving on to section 5. No pipeline can be installed without the permission from approving authority. The application must include 3 things, which are: the first one is the name and address of the owner, operator, consultant and contractor. And second one is the pipeline route and a flow line diagram. And the last one is the design and material specifications. This process ensures all installations are reviewed and approved for safety and compliance before any works begins. Next is section 6, which focuses on the approval needed before operating a pipeline. Similar to installation, no person is allowed to operate a pipeline unless they have received written permission from the approving authority. So, the owner or representative must submit first a confirmation letter that the pipeline follows all standards stated in section 4. And the second one is a full emergency plan in case of system failure or accidents, covering safety procedures, public protection and environmental response. And the last one is a second confirmation letter that all operations and maintenance procedures are aligned with the ANSI codes or approved alternative. So these requirements ensure that pipelines operate safely and that companies will be prepared for emergencies. Finally, section 7 that highlights the importance of pressure control, which is the maximum allowable pressure. It is strictly stated that no person shall operate a pipeline at a pressure higher than the maximum allowable pressure set by the approving authority. Operating beyond the approved limit can cause serious safety risks, including leaks or explosions. Therefore, maintaining the pressure within the approved range is vital for both operational safety and environmental protection.
Hi and good morning everyone. I am NURUL NIZAM and I am the second safety officer in this company. And for today, I am going to briefly explain to you about the section 8 to section 10 in this regulation. Good morning. So today I will be continuing the briefing on a few critical safety requirements under the Petroleum Safety Measures Transportation of Petroleum by the Pipelines. It is a regulation in 1985 and today I will be specifically briefing on sections 8 to 10. So let's start with section 8, which is the records. So as workers involved in pipelines operations, it is important that you understand that your company is legally required to maintain a proper records. So why? Because these records will hold us accountable for safety practices and ensure your protection and the safety of others. And it is also to allow the authorities, including us, the officer, to monitor the compliance. These records must be available upon the request by the approving authority or the AA. So the AA can request for additional documents or ask for information from the owner, consultant or contractor. So good documentation isn't just a formality. It is part of the safety culture that we expect you to follow. So you must be questioning what kind of record that we must keep. So now here is the what record that must be recorded and be maintained. So first is the training procedure for safety operation. Next is the maintenance schedule. And third is the records of corrosion control measure. And other than that is inspection results and the reports on equipment condition. And next is the investigation into failures and the corrective action that has been taken. Other than that, modifications made to any part of the pipeline. And last but not least is procedure for pipeline abandonment. So each of these records help us trace decisions, monitor performance and improve our response in case of any incidents occur. So this is how we prevent any small issues from becoming big disasters. For example, if a pipe joint failed last year and caused a small leak, but we didn't document the repair properly, it could happen again. But with the right records, we can learn from those incidents and stop and prevent them from repeating. So let's move on to the section 9, which is inspection. So whether a pipeline is under construction or already operating, it is subject to inspection by the approving authority or the AA. So the AA will decide what type of inspection is appropriate, how frequently the inspection should take place, and may also act on concerns raised by the pipeline owners or the operator. Our job in this company is not just to inspect, but to ensure that every part of the system meets the safety standard before and also during the use. For example, if there is a report that a certain section of the pipeline has been vibrating more than usual, we may conduct a targeted inspection on that part before anything goes wrong. So now what happens if we find out that something is wrong during an inspection? So first, if there is a non-critical defect, we will issue a written notice with a grace period to fix it. However, if the defect poses an immediate danger to people, property or the environment, we can order an immediate stop to the operations. So it is important for you to remember that you are not allowed to resume operations until the issue is fully resolved. For instance, imagine we discover a leak near a populated area, even if it hasn't caused damage yet. The risk is too high, so we will have to shut everything down until it is repaired and confirmed to be safe. And take note, failing to comply with a safety notice is a legal offence. So please remember to take all inspection feedback seriously. Let's move on to the last section, which is section 10, notice with conditions. So finally, section 10 allows the inspector to issue a written notice with specific conditions. So let me give you an example. We may allow the pipeline to continue operating, but only if the maximum pressure is lowered to reduce risk until a repair can be made. In such cases, the operator must strictly follow the conditions stated in the notice. If they don't, it could put the worker's life and the surrounding environment in danger, and it would also violate the law. So please remember to always check, double check and document everything. Even a small instruction might make a big difference in preventing any accident from occurring. So to conclude, sections 8 to 10 remind us that safety is not just about hard hats and drills. It is also about proper documentations, compliance and taking quick, correct actions when any issues arise. So as new worker, your role in maintaining this safety system in the company begins today. So if you ever have any doubts or see something unsafe, please report it immediately. So thank you and welcome to the company and let's work together.
Assalamualaikum and greetings all the new employees. My name is AUNI and I am going to explain these three important sections, sections 13, 14 and 16 that is very important for all of you to know as part of your role in petroleum pipeline transportation. So, let us start, shall we? Section 13. This section addresses the reporting and handling of any dangerous occurrences. These dangerous occurrences refer to any unplanned events that will cause harm to the environment, loss of life, and injury. For instance, we can see if there is any rupture or leak in the pipelines due to the corrosion, and also a valve malfunction that will cause the petroleum inside the pipeline to be released into the environment. In addition, the owner, operator and contractor of a pipeline must aware of any defects in the pipeline. The defects must be repaired to ensure the pipeline safety. If the defects cannot be repaired, then the operation must be halted immediately and the approving authority must be notified. Next, Section 14. As you guys can see here, no person shall carry out any modifications to a pipeline without first obtaining a written permission from the approving authorities. These modifications include the pressure limits, operating temperature, the rerouting of a pipeline, and also the type of fluid. However, in the case of emergencies, the immediate modifications can be made. For example, if you wanted to reroute a pipeline to avoid construction, prior approval must be required. But just imagine if there is a leak or rupture inside the pipeline, then all we can do is to weld the pipeline. But the approving authority must be informed immediately after the process. Last but not least, Section 16 outlines the consequences for breaching the regulations. Any person found guilty of breaking the law, they can be fined up to 20,000 ringgit. But if they continue to break the law even after being warned, they can face the additional fine, which is the 5,000 ringgit per day of the violation continues. In conclusion, the Petroleum Regulation 1985, the transportation of petroleum by pipelines, provide a complete legal framework to safely design, construct, operate, inspect, and modify the petroleum pipeline systems in Malaysia. These regulations also provide the safety blueprint for the owner, contractor, operator, and to the relevant authorities. These regulations are very useful in ensuring the public and occupational safety and also to clarify the legal obligations. Thank you for watching this video, and we are very excited to work with all of you. If there is any question, please don't be hesitant and ask any of us. Bye!